Welcome to Growth Marketer Academy with Ryan and Andrea Eldridge.
Ready, set, go.
When done right, Facebook ads can build brand awareness and give you the opportunity to engage with new and existing customers.
They can even give you an outlet for direct sales.
What? But to make sure your message gets in front of the right person at the right time, you need to properly structure your ad campaign, choose your audience, and set your budget.
Which is exactly what we're covering in today's episode.
Well, isn't that convenient?
This is Ryan Eldridge.
And this is Andrea Eldridge.
Welcome to Growth Marketer Academy.
This is episode 23 of the Growth Marketer Academy podcast.
I'm Ryan Eldridge, Chief Strategist at Squirrel Digital Marketing.
And this is Andrea Eldridge, Creative Director at Squirrel Digital Marketing.
Last week we covered why you should be advertising on Facebook, how to choose between the various ad formats available, and the components of a successful ad based on where your target is in the buyer's journey.
Right. So if you missed last week's episode, you should totally go back and check it out because it'll make this episode make a heck of a lot more sense. We're going to refer to last week's episode a few times. So start there and then pick up with us after that.
But at this point, we're going to assume that you know the kind of ad you need.
That's right, because we already went over all that.
Yeah.
So here we go. So now we get into the fun stuff, creating an ad using Facebook Ads Manager.
Oh, there is nothing funner than Ads Manager. Let me tell you.
All right. Maybe I just don't know how to have
It's
fun.
It's like
not a Saturday
swimming.
night.
It's like swimming when you're 8 years old in a lake with your best friends.
Sure,
That's how I describe Ads Manager.
Yeah. Okay. So first things first, you're going to head over to that Facebook Ads Manager page, and you're basically going to see 4 tabs at the top of the page. You're going to see account overview, campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And so just a brief overview of what's found on each tab. Account overview is pretty much just what it sounds like. It's a directory of info related to your ads.
Under campaigns.
Yes. Sorry, you go.
All right. Under campaigns, this is where you create ads for a single objective using Facebook's predetermined options like awareness, consideration, conversion.
Okay. And then ad sets is the tab where you're going to set the schedule for ad duration. You're going to select your target audience, and you're going to organize the different ads that you're running in each ad campaign because you'll probably have several running at once.
So for an example, if you're running an awareness stage campaign, you might be running an image ad with ungated to straight ungated content, or you might be running a promotional offer.
Well, you're probably running them both at the same time. And so running simultaneously 2 different ads to 2 different target audiences, basically you can group the awareness campaigns together or organize by audience, etc. And that's basically what you would be doing in that ad sets tab.
So on the ads tab, this is where you're going to choose the ad format, whether it's a static image, a video, or a carousel ad, or whatever. And ads in this section represent the final version of what the users are going to see in their Facebook feed.
Right. So we include in the show notes basically it's like a visual explanation of how that structure works from campaign to ad set to ad. So if what we just kind of ran over really quickly doesn't make a lot of sense, pop over to the show notes and check that out. And that is at
growthmarketeracademy.com.
There you go.
And we're on episode number 23. So one of the things to think about is it's just basically everything's nesting into each other. So as you open up each tab, it gets more and more like, I don't know, I wouldn't say complicated, but you have more and more options. So if you go ads, those nest in between ad sets, and then ad sets nest into campaigns. So you can have 10 campaigns, each campaign running 20 different ad sets, and those ad sets you could be running hundreds of different ads.
Right.
All right.
All right, so the steps involved in creating a Facebook ad, we are going to start with step 1, which is basically you have to start with selecting your campaign objective. We went over this in quite a bit of detail in the last episode. Again, remember each ad should have a single objective. You can't have more than one goal because then it's going to be impossible to test the success or gauge its, whether or not it's working if you have more than one objective that you think you're hitting concurrently. And again, this objective should be tied to where the person seeing the ad is in their buyer's journey. So for example, if you don't have an established brand with existing followers, you're going to start with awareness. You need to just make people aware that you exist. You can't just instantly start a sales pitch to people who've never heard of your brand before. But if you're targeting existing customers already familiar with your brand, you could opt for a consideration or conversion objective.
And kind of what you're kind of glancing on here is that ultimately with Facebook, you can run direct sales ads to cold audiences. Like if you're selling a fun thing for Christmas toys, or it's Father's Day or Mother's Day, or you run a spa. You certainly can run those ads, but they're less likely to be engaged with audiences that have never heard of you. And so we generally take a two-step process. One, to make customers aware of who you are and kind of gather up an audience by pixeling them, and then next sending them a direct targeted ad, selling them something.
Right. And it's primarily based on the structure of how people use Facebook, the way they treat it. They aren't really expecting, obviously these days we do expect to see ads, but you're not really as likely to stop and notice something if it's clear that it's an ad straight from the beginning, that you haven't seen that brand before and you're like, yeah, scroll. Yeah. Whereas if you as the brand have established some connection with that person, made them be like, oh yeah, that's right, I saw that funny thing last week, or they gave me that really fun, cool little checklist, or oh yeah, I remember seeing this article from them, something that ultimately gave you awareness of your brand first, and then you give them some sort of sales pitch, then they're more likely to stop, notice you from even just recognizing your brand at this point, and actually pay attention to your message.
So once you've selected your basic objective of what you're going to be doing, you're going to need to give your campaign a name. And while that kind of sounds like, well, yeah, I'm going to name it Campaign 1. That just makes total sense. Keep in mind that if you're building out a Facebook account, most marketers have hundreds of ads, lots and lots of different ad sets,
and even though you're starting with maybe the first 5, by the time you've been doing this for 3 years, you're probably going to have hundreds.
So you want to come up with a naming convention now, something that you can go back to and rely on if you're looking at an ad from 3 years ago, or let's say you're a seasonal business and you go, oh, I want to run that back to school campaign I did last year. You don't want to go look for campaign 12B. Right? It's not going to tell you jack squat. Right?
That's true. So basically, just keep in mind, it can be really hard to distinguish one ad from another, particularly when you get to the point where you're running several ads concurrently with different objectives, different targets, different messages. So start now with a consistent framework for how you're going to name your campaigns so that in years to come, it's easier to find stuff.
Yeah.
Again, on this page, just keep in mind, there's no thumbnail, so you can't preview the ad from this tab on Ad Manager. It's literally just words.
Yep.
So you need to make sure that you include enough information in your campaign name to identify that campaign at a glance.
So generally what we do when we do these ads or these campaign names, we'll put the objective first, like conversion. Then we'll put the type of ad, image, video, whatever. And then we'll describe what the audience is it cold, warm, or hot. And remember, we can have multiple different kinds of warm audiences, multiple different kinds of cold audiences, but we generally try to do that.
Well, what constitutes a cold versus warm versus hot audience?
Cold, nobody's heard of you.
Okay.
Warm, they've heard of you and are on some sort of path to
They're at least
purchase.
Aware of your existence.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hot is somebody who's purchased or has purchased from you before, or is a customer that is likely to purchase next.
Got it.
So that's generally how we treat it, and we'll even geo-target them. So we might say something like conversion, image, cold, and then give a region. Right, so that way I'll know what the region of where that ad's been running, whether it's Texas or California, or even down to a city name if it's really highly targeted.
Okay.
And then you generally want to give a keyword about specifically what the ad's about. So it might be something like, let's say we're selling computer repair because it's one of our brands. I'll put in something like checkup or PC checkup or PC tune-up or something like that. So
or
I know
Black Friday.
Yeah, or Black Friday. I'll know, oh, okay, so now I know exactly what this ad set was going for, what this campaign was going for.
And that, again, is so that, 3 years from now, you may have a lot of ads and you may want to rework a successful campaign and or perhaps you want to overhaul a dud and you want to be able to more easily quickly find that campaign without having to hunt and peck through a list of just word options.
Yeah. So step number 3, you want to select an audience to target. Now, the audience you choose can make or break your ad success.
Right.
You might be thinking in sort of traditional advertising, well, I'll write up a really great ad and the world will just automatically convert to it because it's so good. But really with Facebook, if you can talk directly to your ideal customer, you want to make your ad as close to that ideal customer's ultimate ad ever, right? It's not a billboard on the freeway where you're trying to get as many people as you can.
Just to notice you.
You're just trying to get the 10 people that this ad will speak to. and get those people to convert.
And that's because Facebook allows you to really highly target and highly select customers. So the more relevant you make your ad to that smaller group of people, the more likely you are to convert those people.
Yeah.
So, you could show a single ad to a large general audience, and we've all seen those, and we've seen ones that have been successful on Facebook. And I think in certain parameters it can work. Like if you're looking specifically for reach or for, again, some of these awareness campaign objectives might be, well served by a larger audience, but I think you still need to generally narrow.
Well, and also Facebook will punish you if you're not being very selective in your audience. If you're just spamming the world with your ad about shoes,
However great
or whatever,
it is.
you're going to get a low relevancy score. Facebook's going to charge you a shoot ton of money just to show in the auction, and it's going to be kind of a waste of time and energy. I really don't recommend doing it. Even if you're Coca-Cola, you should be highly targeting your ads to a specific audience. So if you're thinking, I'll just throw $20, you're going to blow that $20 in 10 seconds trying to send it to everyone on the universe. And you're going to get no conversions. You're going to waste your time and you're going to leave. So you really want to be honed in on your audience. So Facebook gives you lots of different ways to create an audience. You can go after age, gender, location, interests, behaviors, income level, and a lot more. You also, if you have an existing list or an existing database of customers, you can upload that directly to Facebook and create an audience out of that. Or people that have seen your page, or your Facebook page, or people who have gone to your website or done a certain thing on those websites. You can all narrow those down for your audience. And it just makes your ads so much more relevant.
And it's better to start with a more targeted audience, test an ad's call to action and conversion before you roll it out to a mass audience or a larger audience. I mean, mass is probably the wrong term here. It's rare that one message is going to resonate with all people. So you want to hone your message to speak directly to fewer people so that your ad will convert better than a generic ad that was pushed out to a larger audience than it should have been. So step 4 is select your ad placement. This is where you select where you want your ads to display within Facebook. Again, we mentioned this last time. You have a few options: newsfeed, sidebar, audience network. If you want more details about that, pop over to last episode. Remember, though, just the key takeaway here is the sidebar ads show on desktop only. So a lot of Facebook users won't see them because so many of them these days access purely through that mobile platform. So you're really going to limit your reach if you select sidebar. Okay, so those are the 4 steps for creating an ad. At this point, you're ready to select your budget, which is both scary and also, healthfully limiting.
Well, if you got $1 million in the bank, just set that budget to $1 million. You're set.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Because with Facebook, I hear you can do that and just get $10 million back. It's a money machine.
Oh, yeah. No, don't do that, guys. Don't do it. Okay, so selecting your budget is really pivotal to the success of your campaign. It determines the costs related to running your Facebook ad campaigns, but it also really helps to determine how often your ads will show and to what audiences. So keep in mind that in most markets, there's thousands of others running the same ads as you are and trying to basically achieve the same results. So spending is going to heavily factor into ad visibility.
So in the show notes, we're going to put up a picture of exactly what budget selection kind of looks like.
Yep.
And so you can kind of see it for yourself without having to set up a whole account. But essentially, you're going to come across 2 main factors: budget and schedule, right? How much am I going to spend and when am I going to spend it? And so first you want to decide, is your budget going to be a daily budget or a lifetime budget? So if I've got $500 to spend and that's it, my wife says you're allowed to spend $500 to your customers and you can't spend any more than that, then I might set a lifetime budget and let
I'm pretty sure we've had that conversation before.
And let Facebook decide when and where that money is best to be spent. Or I can set a daily budget, say $20, and say, okay, well, now I know I've got several days that I can get by with this $20 budget without breaking the bank. Right?
And ideally that would be to space out when those customers come through your funnel. So particularly if you're working on a conversion campaign, we've had this discussion before about plopping a big investment down into something that runs for a very brief, short period of time. If you get overwhelmed with response and you're not able to effectively really take advantage of those leads in a timely manner, then you've really wasted your money. So in those situations, a daily budget can be really helpful just because it spaces out the response to your ad.
Well, and some people might spend more on a Saturday. You might have customers that are more apt to do or take part part of your services on a Monday, and so
True.
Spreading that over time is usually better. But keep in mind that if you've only got a set amount to spend, and you don't really care about that sort of thing, you've got a sort of an evergreen offer that works all the time, you can set that lifetime budget.
But it will require in Facebook that if you choose lifetime budget that you set a start and end date, whereas if you do a daily budget, you can actually choose to just let the ad run continuously if you wanted to, which I'm still not really fond of, but you could.
Yeah.
You could do that. All right, so next up, you're going to have to choose optimization for ad delivery. And this is basically how you tell Facebook what you hope to gain through this campaign. You've got a few options. You've got conversions, impressions, link clicks to your website, and daily unique reach. This is basically telling Facebook what you hope to get out of this campaign. And so it basically uses what your goal is to determine who to show your ad to. So if you choose, for example, conversions, you're basically going to allow Facebook to determine which users it thinks will find your ad to be most relevant and be most likely to complete your goal action. So that may be giving you an email address or purchasing a product.
And choosing something like choosing something like link clicks to your website, it's similar to conversions, but you're telling Facebook's algorithm to pick people who are most likely to click your link and go directly to your website, not necessarily take an action. So this would be good if you're just putting out some content, a blog post, an instruction manual, something where you're trying to get people to just go to your website so you can pixel them for your next campaign.
And again, as we mentioned in the last episode, it's always a good idea if you can get people from Facebook onto your landing page or to a specific place in your website, because getting them off of the Facebook platform reduces their distractions. So this is a good one, particularly in an awareness campaign, but in really probably any of your campaigns.
Yeah.
Impressions or daily unique reach is going to work well for an awareness campaign because you're basically just looking to maximize the number of times that your ad is shown. And so if you tell Facebook that your goal is just impressions, how many times it's shown, or daily unique reach, how many times it's shown per day to a unique person, Facebook will understand that what you're really just trying to do is get it out there and get it seen. And so that can be really helpful, like I said, if you're doing awareness.
So when we're talking about bid amounts, Facebook's ad placement is chosen just like an auction. So if you're familiar with AdWords at all, or most online marketing, paid marketing, there's generally an auction that takes place because not everybody can put their ad on a specific page. There's only a certain number of slots that you can get.
Right.
And Facebook's using their algorithm to determine the most money they're possibly going to make. So that your relevancy score is going to be important, how much your budget is going to be important, how much your ad has been engaged with is all going to be important to determine whether you're going to win this auction.
Because it's like a balance between user experience and money benefit. It's not so much just getting as much of your money as that can. They're also looking to make sure that they don't destroy the user experience in the process.
If you're running an ad that says, I'm going to help you stop smoking, and you're running this to a bunch of non-smoker kids, they're going to be like, why am I seeing this ad?
Yeah.
And it's going to get you a lot of complaints. And it's going to ruin the user experience for Facebook.
Right. So basically in the bid section, you choose what you're willing to pay, and you can choose by either per click, per impression, or per conversion from the ad if you have a really defined call to action that Facebook can gauge as a conversion. And this tells Facebook how much you're willing to pay per action that you've defined. Basically, Facebook then compares this value with what others are willing to pay and adjusts the visibility of your ad to meet up with what parameters you've set.
And you get two options when you're choosing your bidding. You can do automatic or manual, and you might want to go, I'm going to go do manual because then I can have a little more control. But I would suggest going automatic. The thing with Facebook, they're a little better than a lot of the other platforms out there in that they want you to spend your money and they want you to stay on their platform to keep spending money. And so whereas I'm familiar with AdWords and they'll just take every dollar you got, you put that to automatic, they're going to blow your budget in days.
Like 20 minutes.
Because they don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, just give me all the money you got.
It kind of reminds me of the college plan where, when you go to college, you basically get a loan for a certain amount and they go, okay, well, let's see exactly how much you need. Oh, you need $3,000 for tuition and $5,000 for housing, so $8,000, and you have $2,000 in your savings account. So I don't really care that that's supposed to last you all 4 years of your college career. We're going to put it all towards your first 3 months of living, and all you really need left is this much. And good news, you made it through your first year. And you're like, but wait, I'm not going to make it through years 3 and 4. So yeah, that's pretty much AdWords for you.
So Facebook's a little better about it. They'll stretch your budget out. They want you to stay on the platform, so they just don't blow your budget. And really with manual, you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble. You could overpay very quickly, or you could underpay and have your ads not serve very much. So my suggestion, especially for beginners, let that budget run as automatic. And then once you get a sense for how well that ad is doing, how well that campaign and that objective is all doing, then you can go back and change it to manual and get a little more control if you want it.
You could, yeah. But I mean, honestly, I would say just use your daily or lifetime ad budget to set the limits of your ad spend, and don't try to overthink what Facebook algorithms already got in play, in my opinion. But
well, when it comes to Facebook, there's really no outsmarting it. Facebook is smarter than you are, guaranteed. And so just let it do its job is generally what I say.
Yep.
Just let it do its job.
All right. So next you have to choose delivery type. This is basically where you control how often and how fast your ads are displayed. So you can choose either standard versus accelerated. Accelerated, I mean, gosh, that sounds amazing, right?
Yeah,
but
do faster.
Right. But it's really best only if you're running ads for a few hours a day, or you have a time-sensitive offer. Otherwise, really, you just want to stick with the standard delivery method. Again, don't try to overthink Facebook. If you really want to blow through your budget as quick as you can, go for accelerated. But it's probably only best for those specific parameters.
So when it comes to ads, one of the things we always suggest is don't stop at one. You want to basically create as many ads that are relevant to your type of offer as you can, so you can get a sense for what your audience is going to respond to.
Within reason. I mean, obviously you don't want to take a budget of $200 and split it between 17 ads. That's not going to be as effective. Do you have any parameters there or for how to do that?
In general, what I'll do is if I'm running, say, a conversion campaign, I really like video ads. They just convert so great. But I'll do a video, I'll do an image because they're fairly easy to pump out an image ad, and run those two against each other and see how well they do. And then if I need to, or if I'm running a product ad, I might run a carousel so I can tell a little bit of a story against a video ad rather than an image ad. So it just kind of depends on what you're going after.
So you basically, it sounds like, pick two of the same, everything else being the same, but just the different in terms of the eye-catching part, whether it's a static image or a video.
And the key here is I'm just looking for a winner, right? I'm looking to weed out all the losers, and I'm just looking for a winner. When I find a winner, I'm going to take that one winner and I'm going to send that through all my ad sets, so that way I can get a higher relevancy score. One of the keys with Facebook is I may run 20 different ads, but I'm going to really spread out my budget. I'm really going to mess up my targeting. It's not really great for that for all time. I just want to run 20 ads till I find the winners. Right, I might have 2 or 3 winners. Then I'm going to take that post ID from the winners, and I'm going to put that in a bunch more campaigns. So that way I'm running the same ad to lots of different audiences. And that's going to get my engagement up. That's going to get my shares up. It's going to get my likes up and my comments up. And that's going to lower my costs because my relevancy score is going to go higher. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, it's basically the classic motto. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't assume that you 100% know your audience. I mean, what if you could have gotten 20% higher conversion with a video ad, but you just ran a carousel ad because you were like,
and it's just
this is the best way to go.
It's just a matter of narrowing it down. Once you've decided, okay, well, I've got 2 or 3 ads that are working. Now I'm going to kind of mess with these a little bit. I'm going to change the CTA a little bit, change the image a little bit, change the wording a little bit until I can hone in to where I'm getting diminishing returns. Get diminishing returns, boom. Now I got my ad and I can duplicate that over and over and over again.
So now we are on to measure ad performance and optimize. Of course, you want to basically take this knowledge that you're gathering from running these ads concurrently and use it to find, as you said, the winner. So one of the biggest benefits of Facebook ads is their real-time analytics. You can see ad performance within days or sometimes even hours. But basically, you usually need to let that ad run for about 3 to 5 days for the Facebook algorithm to work. And it also depends on the volume, how quickly you're going to be able to see results, how many people have seen your ad, what the volume of impressions are. But still, it's a pretty quick turnaround when you can see success rates.
Mm-hmm. So you can click on account and go to the campaigns tab, select a date range for the length of time you want to analyze your ad's performance. And you can see interesting metrics like your cost per click, your cost per conversion, the number of impressions, and even the unique link clicks. So that way in one case, one person clicked the same link 10 times, it'll weed those all the way down to, okay, well, I've got this how many unique
ones.
Yeah.
And you can also customize the metrics that you see. So you can click on the columns option and then select between different ad reports and change the metrics that are shown so that you can see exactly how they're performing in the ways that really speak to your specific goals. The choice of ad metrics you want to see really, like I said, depends on your campaign goals. So if you're going to gauge the success of your campaign, it needs to be relative to the goals that you set for that specific ad. And then you're going to use this data to optimize your campaign.
Yeah. So Ad Espresso by Hootsuite analyzed 37,259 Facebook ads because 37,260 Facebook ads would have been too much.
It's true, yeah.
And they determined that most companies run only one ad, but the most successful Facebook marketers have hundreds.
Yes, lots and lots of ads because, again, they have to make sure that they are always testing. It's like always be testing.
ABC, always be, ABT.
Yes, ABT.
Always
be testing. Yes.
Okay.
So basically, there's some different options you can use for tweaking your ads to create an A/B test if you're not really sure how to do that. You can try different phrasing. You can shorten or expand your message. You can change your image, or again, we've already talked about changing the style of ad. But if you've pretty much settled that your audience really works best with video, as it sounds like you have, you would want to be able to use a video, but with a different phrasing of the ad message, a different maybe cut-in shot that shows, at the static point where the person first sees it. Try a few different things until, again, you can determine which one really resonates with your fans and customers.
And keep in mind, you're only doing A/B testing on winning ads. If you're doing A/B testing on an ad that's already losing, it's not really hitting your goals, it's not making you money, it's not making sales, don't A/B test that. Just get rid of it. And a lot of times, the biggest thing you can change is your offer. If an ad stinks, 9 times out of 10 it has nothing to do with the video, the image, the words. It has everything to do with the fact that people just don't want what you're offering. And so you change the offer.
That your offer is not really geared towards the audience you've selected too.
She said it, folks. She said it.
All right. You also want to make sure that as you're doing this process, you really track your modifications. If a tweak results in a decrease in performance, you want to be able to easily revert back to that previous version without going, oh, shoot, what was it that caused this performance to drop?
And change one thing at a time. You may have seen different podcasts or heard different things or read different blogs about all the cool stuff you can do and change. And you're, I'm going to do all of it all at once. Don't do that. Just change one thing at a time. Take your time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Even if you're like, everybody's making gold mines on Facebook, don't. Just chill. Yeah. And just know that this is going to take you a little while to kind of hone in and figure this out. And once you do, then you can start sprinting. But for now, just change one thing at a time. Take it nice and slow and easy.
Well, and I also think it's important to mention that you want to allow your ads to run for a predefined period of time because there are different things that can affect ad performance that are out of the realm of your specific ad. I mean, if you ran one ad during the holiday season and everybody just wasn't really interested in whatever it is that you were trying to talk about, but you have certain seasons, it's going to seem like those ads you run in those seasons are predominantly like amazingly better, and it can just be a seasonal thing. So
my ski resort never converts in the summer. I don't know why.
It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, it's
I try, but it doesn't.
All right. Well, Facebook, it may be facing increased competition from other social media challengers, but it's still a rock star tool for marketers.
You can tailor ad parameters to fit your objectives, your budget, and even your time constraints.
And whether you're looking to increase brand awareness, gather leads, or solicit direct sales, Facebook offers a variety of ad types and targeting to allow you to get your message in front of your future customers.
That's it for today. Behead the bad guys. That's it for today. Be sure to head over to growthmarketeracademy.com to check out the show notes and links to the resources we talked about today. And if you're enjoying our podcast, make sure you rate it on whatever platform you're listening on, specifically iTunes.
Yes, of course. Whatever you're listening on, but please rate it on iTunes.
Yeah.
And also make sure that you don't miss next week's exciting episode when we'll be covering how to optimize for conversion. And no, we won't be talking about those dime a dozen tips like changing the color of your CTA. We'll actually be going over how to methodically choose what to test and how to determine the effectiveness of each modification until you identify the ad that resonates best with your audience.
Good stuff. I don't think I'm going to miss that one.
I don't think so either, because you're going to be here.
Oh, yeah. I'm Ryan Eldridge.
And I'm Andrea Eldridge.
Thanks for listening to Growth Marketer Academy.
This has been Growth Marketer Academy with Ryan and Andrea Eldridge.